Good evening. The Who's today in Sydney were on at Rosehill. The track was good. The rail was 8 metres out, and there was a very solid southeasterly blowing when we first got there, but it gradually eased as the day went on. The wind didn't have any effect on any of the results, but for some reason, the rail being out that far, it must have close to the fence. It might have. It was obviously worse close to the fence because, similarly with the wind, as the day progressed, the riders kept on getting wider and wider. Nobody wanted to stay near the fence. The runner that finished closest to the closest to winning was Planetarium, who never left it in the distance race, but saving ground on the fence is a bit of an advantage. And in the fourth race, Imperial, it was outside the lead, but finished close to the fence. It stuck on and ran second, and they were the closest to finish near the lead. Both of them run second and were near the fence, so their runs were most probably a bit better than they looked. In the first, well, you think this wasn't a strip out for the captains. We got poleaxed here in the first race. They said there was 105. Figures on the screen, I must admit, weren't bad here today for the robots, but in the marketplace, as I'll tell you, there was some huge differences in what you could have got and what was on the screen. 105.8 on the screen in the first race, and it was about 101 in the marketplace, and the winner was $8 into $5 taken. Very, very hard to get the $5 as they jumped, and it sat outside the lead centre pet. It led. I own the lead, never dwell, and it finished up at held on for third, but a bit off the fence. Centre pet looked at the leader all the way and got a charm run, whilst back in the field, getting shuffled around in between horses and buffeted were General PK, the visitor from Melbourne, and also Shiv Archie, who copped a check at the start along with the top weight, General PK, and it was held up. Shiv Archie going for a run, turning for home, finish up at ran fourth, beating 2.7 lengths, maybe with a bit of better luck. It might have even gone close to winning. Chamonte, number 2, which was extremely hard to lay. I think they were only returned at $4.60. Well, it was $4.40 out to $5.50. I was $5.50 when they jumped, and I couldn't crack it for a decent bet. And there were a few runners back slightly fluctuating, but the winner, as I say, was a dreadful result. It was $8 into $5 taken set a pet, and the captains got off on the wrong leg by a big way. The second race, we saw 101.4 on the screen, but in the marketplace there was only about 92%. Now, the best luck, the winner for a start, Frozen Rope, was $4.40. Well, a blind man at the finish could have got $5. It was $5, at least 2 boards on the fence. And I don't know whether they were laying, but it was there, as simple as that, for a good few minutes, 2 minutes before they jumped. And I suppose the reason was that Curayan, it was very disappointing, firm right up in the market. Similarly, you wouldn't see it, but $4.20 was given on the fence, early in betting Curayan, and it started, I think best luck was $3.80. It started only about $3.10. Might have been it was only about $3.10 when they jumped, hard to get. And the winner, Frozen Rope, it went from $3.50 out to, as I say, $5. It sat back. It's a field of 7 runners here, and Frozen Rope sat back in midfield off the fence and finished a bit too strongly for them. Coming off the fence and being held up slightly, turning for home was Sailor's Farewell, and should have finished a little bit closer than the 1.3 lengths that it got beat, but it did come down in the best section of the track. The disappointment was Curayan, who sat in third position and held on only fairly. I suppose the reason for its big market move and starting favourite, most punters or the pros might have thought it was going to get an easy lead, but that wasn't the case. Going straight to the front in this race was Falklands, who went a bit fast on Jenny Duggan, and up on the south side pulling as well was Clickety Snip, and they both dropped out. The winner was a strong win. 92%. I'll tell you how it happened. It was $3.50 out to $5 Frozen Rope, as I say. Clickety Snip went from $12 out to $14, back into about $11. Falklands $6.50 out to $7.50, back to $6.50. Mr. Redison $8 to $12. Curayan $4.20 into $3.10. Sailor's Farewell $8 out to $12 given on the fence, back into start 10. And the bottom one, Fetty, $5 out to $8, back into $7.50. Not much good. Race 3, they said that similarly here, there was 104.9 on the screen, but there was only 96% in the marketplace. 270 the best luck, the favourite, but of course there was 280 given on the fence. Princess Layla. Now they returned Princess Layla. Here's a little bit of purr, nearly 4%. Princess Layla, they returned at only $4.60. I think that might have been the best luck. I was $5.50. It was $5 for a good while, and $5.50 when they jumped. And there were no takers at the $5.50. You think you'd be able to lay it when it was only $4.60 on the screen. Sastruga, $5 out to $7, back into $5, well backed. Segura, always firm, about $21. I laid 8,400 at one stage. Project Compassion, it was eased down at the finish. Poor effort, $7 out to $9, back into 7. G Me Up, $12 into 10. And Arm's Length was 21 out to 31, only about 96. And this favourite, who was a moral beaten, as we all saw at Warwick Farm last start, She's Clean, was well ridden by Sean Guymer, sat back in second last position, admittedly got to the outside of the track. Princess Layla, it was up outside the leader, G Me Up, and the favourite came down the outside and was able to win by 0.8 of a length. And coming from last position, shelving how the outside was a bit better, I suppose, was Arm's Length. Is not real strong, and it finished up coming down the outside, grabbing third position, beaten 1.6 lengths, amplifying again how the outside of the track was better than the inside. That favourite, She's Clean, captains wanted to reach for it. It went up a $2.10 chance, or only evens, went up evening money on the field, evens the field, got to 280, did start only $2.60. Race 4, they said there was 109.5 on the screen. We squeezed 1% out of the race. There were some flux here you wouldn't see. You wouldn't have seen $10 about the top weight. There was $9 on the fence, but $10 given in the outside ring. Imperial, $10. $11 Laser Flash, $21 Dan Aura, $10 Lock Leven. The winner Campania, great result for the captains, came from a clear last right down the outside to show how the outside was the best. It went from $9 out to 15. Good Day Kitty didn't have a price, 16 out to 31. Diamond Drill, it had the blows. It went from 4.40 out to $11 at one stage, into start $8. Fuming started the Avery at 4-1, as much as $6 given. Opened up fours, got out to sixes, $5 out to $6, back into $5. And we had Sandpipers from the Snowden camp, well backed, $9 out to 10, taken into $9.50. And Wine and Dine, extremely well backed, Wine and Dine, $8.50 out of 9, back into 7. It never ever got a run, Wine and Dine. It was held up It was possibly in the worst section of the track. As I say, Campania, who was a bit of a wet tracker, there was light drizzle. It didn't have any effect on the track. Very, very light rain during this race. And as I say, Campania came from a clear last, ridden by killer Kath O'Hara, to sail down the outside and grab Imperial, who sat outside the leader, Danura, who stayed close to the fence and ran a clear last, beaten 18.4 lengths, not the place to be. And after Imperial got to the lead, it was always off the fence, but not that far off, finished up close to it when they hit the line, whereas the winner was extremely wide on the track. As I say, it was held up, wine and dined, had barrier 1, and I suppose its run could be excused. Race 5, this was that. They said there was 110.1 on the screen, and we squeezed 104 out of this. These were the flux. A werewolf was 20 out to 81. Kenny Zing was 17 to 21. Direct Charge was 650 out to 7 back to 650. The favourite Fureza was $3 out to 330. 310 the best luck, but 330 easily got, or easily had, and it started 310. Harry Hotspur was 30 to 61. Layabout Town was 100 out to 401. The next runner, meticulously, the Mamselle Roulette, the winner, surviving a protest. It was $7 out to $9.50, back into $8. Meticulously was 16 out to 19. The next runner, Standard Bearer, was $12 out to 14, back into 13. Little Devil in a Dress was 9 to 2, $5.50 out to $7, back into $6.50. Racing for Diamonds was 101 out to 501. Snappy Diamond was 17 to 31. I'm missing a runner here. Number 12 was Ring for Diamonds. I'm going mad here. Number 11, Little Miss Chelsea, was 101 out to 501. Number 12 was Racing for Diamonds, was 17 to 31. The next runner, Snappy Diamond, was 100 out of 201, and the bottom one, Sweet Kiss, $11 into $9, back out to $10 when they jumped, and it had barrier 1, so that was against it. This race was won by the first starter, trained by Gay. There were only 2 runners in the race having their first start. Straight to the lead it went, Mamselle Roulette. And I don't know whether it was by design. I don't think it was. It hung out under pressure. It went across, made a bit of use to get to the lead too. Mamselle Roulette. It did have had barrier. Well, it was drawn out wide. It was about 3 from the outside, or 3 from the outside. So it had barrier 11 in a field of 14. It crossed led, but when they turned for home, terrific Tommy Berry, he moved off the fence halfway up the straight. It kept on shifting its ground under pressure, and the favourite, Fureza, it hooked off heels turning for home. It was in a good position, and it made up plenty of ground in the straight. If he did protest James McDonald, only for the last 50 metres, when the favourite kept on hanging in front of him, but by that time there was a good 2-length margin between them when it happened. If McDonald would have been able to get, and the winner stayed in a straight line up on the outside, of course, and got closer to the winner, it would have there would have been a protest fired in. If's a very big word, and of course it would have been upheld, but that wasn't the case, and it was always going to be dismissed, and it stuck on well, Mamselle Roulette, but as I say, it did finish out in the best section of the track. And the favourite, thought it was entitled to round it up halfway up the straight, but didn't finish as well as I thought it would have. And the captains had a very good result on that race. Race number 6, there was 106.6 on the screen, and only about a neat 100 in the marketplace. These were the flux. Well, Blue Like a Gale, the top weight girls go racing, $13 to $31. Ernest went $5 to $6.50. Sutton Queen, 21 to 31, 21 to 26. Excuse me, out back into 21. Mighty Obvious, 15 to 26. Now, before the scratching of Whitlam at the barrier, it was $4.60 out to $5 into $4.20, into $4 taken back to $4.20. My Vegas was 51 to 61, and Net Worth, stablemate to the winner, extremely well backed. It started second favourite before the scratching of Whitlam, $5.50 out to $6.50 into $5. Net Worth, not Net Worth, Time to Plunder. You wouldn't see it, but it was $11 out to 14. Then we got the Yingla, who sat 3 wide outside the leaders, very well backed, $11 into $9 at one stage, or $9.50, back out to 10. The winner, California Storm, stablemate to the, as I say, to Net Worth, the one that they put all the ready on. It was 13 to 21. Best Fluck, $17, $21 in the marketplace. Master Stroke, $6 out to $7.50, back into $6, or even $6.50. And Pineapple, there was a bit of money for it, 40 out to 51, back into 31. After the scratching, we did have time to frame a new market, and the SPs were $20. 21 girls go racing. We won't go through it, but the winner after the scratching of Whitlam, it was a $16 chance still on the board, California Storm. So if you took the best luck, you got jinked there. That was, and what happened was, it went straight to the lead. Mighty Obvious coming across, and sitting on its outside was the winner. Was the winner, California Storm, and 3 wide outside, as I said, was Yingla, and in the 3 wide trailing position, in a great position, was Net Worth, who the rider said didn't travel at any stage and has to trial before it starts next start, and it dropped out and ran last, beaten 11.4 lengths. So Darren Smith had first and last there. Ones that the runners that finished closest to the fence, Master Stroke unfortunately drew barrier 2, and it was always close to the fence, along with Mighty Obvious, who led on the rails. The winner was able to not get really wide in the straight, but at 1 length and a half, coming from 5th position in between runners to run second, was Time to Plunder, after being held up slightly and also receiving a slight check at the start. The winner was the best run. Race 7. Now there's a bit of difference here in what you could have had, what you would have seen. UTAB, well, no, yeah, TAB punters, they can't see anything. But the best luck punters at home, or whatever you're betting with corporates, 108.7. But there was, I'll give you the flux. Some of them you won't believe. 108.7 in the on the screen, only 96 in the marketplace. Now these were the flux. O'Reilly's prize went from $6 into $4.80 at one stage, back out to 6, back starting $5.50. Successio was $3.80 out to $4.60. Marden was $8 out to $11, believe it or not, back into 10. Al's goal was 21 to 31. Now, admittedly, there was in the outside ring, Al's Kukuri, the winner, as much as $7.50 was given about Kukuri. I think the best luck was $6.50, but $7.50 given in the outside ring. It did start only $5.50. Panko, well, there's a huge difference here. I can't understand how the best luck was only $5. There was plenty of $6 on the fence, but as much as $7 in the outside ring, $7 given in the outside ring, plenty of 6 on the fence, but best fluck only $5. So Panko punters, well, what do you say? Now Planetarium, the runner that stayed close to the fence after getting and never leaving it, drawing barrier 2, it led O'Reilly's Prize, and it got wide on the bend, whereas Planetarium, ridden by Father Schofield, he stayed hard up against it. It was $18 into about $13 hard to get. Watertight was 31 out to 51, and Flying Home, it was $7 out to $10. Only about 96 with the winner, and also Panko, huge differences in what you could have got and what was actually shown. And it sat in 4th position today. It didn't lead Kukuri, Kukrai, and it was able to get around, moved up wide into 3rd position, turning for home, and it just lasted, it got to the lead and held out Planetarium to beat it by 0.1 of a length, and coming from second last on the fence, easing off and coming down in between runners and a bit, and well off the fence was Marden, to be beaten only 0.4 of a length, and they were clear of the others. It switched back to the inside at the finish, Flying Home, looking for runs, not held up but looking for runs, and finished close to the fence. We came to the last race, and I must admit it was all right. They said there was 111 on the screen, which there most probably would have been, but there were positive figures in the last race for us in the marketplace, 104%. These were the flux. Single went from $6.50 out to $9, back into $8.50 or $8. Merle and Mustang went from $5.50 out to $8. Tester Rhythm, $6 out to $8. Mott Spur from it was a little bit less here because Mott Spur was $21. It went from 13 out to 21. Mott Spur. As a Kinfoss Prince, I gave $26. Was 21 to 26, back into 20. Now Bello, it went from $4.40 out to $6, back to $5.50. Gazaguru, 51 to 101. Riva Delago, the winner. Now they said they were going to ride it further back today. They did. Settled down in 3rd last position, and it was did cop a bit of a check in the run and made up plenty of ground. Catwalk Corey Brown angling between runners, coming through the middle of them and finishing very wide on the track, but there were wider runners. They said they were going to ride it further back, and they did, which was always going to be the case with Riva Delago. It opened up $7, got out to as much as $8.50, but started 8. Samui Lad, it went from $6.50 out to $8.50, back into $7.50. Circle of Power, unfortunately, this runner passed away after falling. It was $15 out to $26. The rider tried to pull it up, thinking there was something wrong with it, and when he did, the horse collapsed and went through the running rail, and as I say, unfortunately passed away. It missed a kick badly as well. Something obviously wrong with that poor horse. Palace Sport, there was money for, $31 into 26, and the bottom one, Bereft, very well back Bereft. It was $9 out to $11, back into $8, fairly hard to get towards the finish of betting, even about $7.50 starting. And as I say, the winner, as it turned out, has been the best run. It went to the lead, Samui Lad, as predicted, and it ran along at a good solid pace, and always well off the fence, turned for home well off the fence, and finished well off the fence, and getting a run from 3rd last position, going in between runners, as I said, was the winner, Riva Delago, and its run was the best in the race. It ran second as a Kinfoss Prince, who was in the 1 out 1 position all the way, getting a good run, and it sat 4th inside it, Tester Rhythm, having every possible chance, and was nudged out by Zakynthos Prince for 2nd position, it running 3rd. Tester Rhythm, the winner, the best run, and that was about the meeting. As I say, there wasn't anything special to be said about the meeting. The same usual suspects in the ring. one of our major pros was missing today, and which had an effect on turnover. And as I say, the usual suspects in the ring, which around about a dozen of them, and the other passing trade is just going from one end of the betting ring to the other, and things, I suppose, after Christmas and the New Year, still people are still away, but it wouldn't matter if they do come because they generally don't bet that much anyway. But that was the meeting, so we'll see what happens during the week. Kembla Grange, there's an ATC meeting switched to Kembla Grange on Wednesday. We have Canterbury on Wednesday night, and then wherever they're on next Saturday, most probably Warwick Farm. Hope you had some luck. Good evening.